This is your AESH Energy News Minute for Tuesday, August 9, 2022. In mainstream news, CNBC reports Hyundai to export heavy-duty hydrogen electric trucks to Germany. Hyundai Motor Company is to export 27 of its XCIENT fuel cell trucks to Germany, with the heavy-duty vehicles set to be used by firms operating in retail, logistics and manufacturing. In a statement earlier this week, the automotive giant said a total of 7 companies, it did not provide their names, would make use of funding from the German government to introduce the vehicles to the country's roads. According to Hyundai, Germany's Federal Ministry for Digital and Transport has a €1.6 billion, roughly $1.63 billion, budget for the purchase of eco-friendly commercial vehicles. The funding is available until 2024. Bloomberg headline, Russia finds a new route to oil market via a tiny Egyptian port. Russia appears to have found a new means of getting its oil to market with Western sanctions looming for Moscow. A cargo of about 700,000 barrels of Russian oil was delivered to Egypt's El Hamra oil terminal on its Mediterranean coast early on July 24. A few hours later, another vessel collected a consignment from the port, which may have included some or all of the Russian barrels. The unusual move makes the cargo's ultimate destination harder to track, adding to a trend of Russian oil shipments becoming increasingly obscured since European buyers began to shun them following the nation's invasion of Ukraine. The Financial Times reports, attacks on Ukraine power plants stir concern over nuclear accident. Wall Street Journal headline, Cuban oil storage terminal rocked by explosions, injuring dozens. A major fire spread uncontrolled at a large oil storage facility in the Cuban port of Matanzas, where explosions and flames left at least 121 injured and 17 firefighters missing, authorities said on Saturday. An enormous column of black smoke, visible for miles, rose hundreds of feet into the air from the conflagration that has enveloped 2 of 8 large fuel tanks at the Matanzas supertanker base, a storage terminal located near one of Cuba's most important power plants some 50 miles east of the capital Havana. Forbes headline, Nikola is buying struggling battery maker Romeo Power for $144 million. Nikola, a maker of battery and hydrogen-powered trucks, is acquiring battery supplier Romeo Power in an all-stock deal worth $144 million that it says will ensure stable access to lithium-ion packs as it ramps up electric semi-production. Boards of Phoenix-based Nikola and Romeo agreed to an offer of 74 cents per share, a 34% premium to Romeo's July 29 closing price, Nikola CEO Mark Russell tells Forbes. Nikola will also provide Romeo with $35 million of funding to stabilize its operations until the deal closes, $15 million in senior secured notes and a battery pack delivery bonus worth up to $20 million. BBC reports. Plans set out for floating wind farm off Downreed. Developers have set out proposals for a floating wind farm off the Caithness coast. Copenhagen Offshore Partners plans to install up to 10 turbines on platforms anchored to the seabed 4 miles (6 kilometers) off the Downreed nuclear complex near Thurso. In planning documents submitted to Highland Council, the company has outlined what onshore infrastructure would be needed. It includes a substation and underground electricity cables. The site would involve about 247 acres on the edge of the boundaries of Downreed and HMS Vulcan, a Ministry of Defense facility used for testing nuclear submarine reactors. EnergyLiveNews.com reports. China suspends climate change cooperation with U.S. China is putting a stop to all cooperation with the U.S. on climate change and high-level military. That's according to a statement from the Chinese Foreign Ministry following Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. 8 measures will be imposed upon the U.S. by Beijing, according to the statement, as a response to her visit to the country which China considers to be its own territory. Trade restrictions and a military presence is currently in place in Taiwan, and Pelosi's visit angered the government after it warned her not to come. PowerGrid.com reports, President Biden quadruples funding for utilities to strengthen the grid. Speaking at a former coal-fired power plant in Somerset, Massachusetts, U.S. President Biden on July 20 said he will be releasing $2.3 billion in funding through the FEMA Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities (BRIC) program for the fiscal year 2022. The BRIC program was launched in August 2020 under President Trump and was originally funded with around $500 million. Biden's announcement quadruples that. The money will help communities across the country build infrastructure that's designed to withstand the full range of disasters that they have been seeing, such as extreme heat, drought, hurricanes, tornadoes, etc. This has been your AESH Energy News Minute for Tuesday, August 9, 2022. If you want more global electric energy news and real-time alerts, hit the subscribe button now and follow us on social media.